Tulsi Gabbard is a patriot, a loyal American. She is a gangster. Because she went in yesterday when they tried to nail her to the wall. And it was absolutely disgusting to watch our government operate like that. Both Democrats and Republicans acting the way they acted, trying to tear this woman down, trying to question her loyalty to this country, trying to make her be something that she's not. She is not a traitor. She's not a puppet for anybody. She's her own woman. And she's a loyal. This is a lieutenant colonel in the United States Army Reserve who's been deployed 3 times to the Middle East and Africa. No, something a lot of these people can't say. A lot of these career politicians, especially the women, who've never been in the military, never strapped on boots, never fought for their country. This woman fought for her country. This woman is a loyal patriot in the United States of America who is trying to root out corruption and evil within our agencies, our intelligence agencies, trying to protect American citizens. I'm fired up about this. I watched that Senate hearing confirmation for her for head of DNI, and I was just appalled by what I saw, especially the Colorado Senator, Democrat, what is this, Michael Bennett, I believe his name is. Absolutely deplorable behavior. These weren't even, a hearing where they're just going through the paces, going through the normal, asking, some tough questions, and it was like a personal attack on this woman. It was absolutely disgusting. Time to Talk podcast. Let's get into it. Welcome to the channel. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. I appreciate people who have already done that. Let's get into this. I want to take a look at part of her opening statement and talk about that on the other side. Let's get into it.
Trust and confidence in nominating me to serve our country as the Director of National Intelligence at a time when trust in the intelligence community, unfortunately, is at an all-time low. Chuck Schumer admitted a few years ago, quote, "You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you." For too long, faulty, inadequate, or weaponized intelligence have led to costly failures and the undermining of our national security and God-given freedoms enshrined in the Constitution. The most obvious example of one of these failures is our invasion of Iraq based upon a total fabrication or complete failure of intelligence. This disastrous decision led to the deaths of tens of thousands of American soldiers, millions of people in the Middle East, mass migration, destabilization, and undermining of the security and stability of our European allies, the rise of ISIS, strengthening of Al-Qaeda and other Islamist jihadist groups, and strengthening Iran. Here are just a few other examples. The American people elected Donald Trump as their president not once but twice, and yet the FBI and intelligence agencies were politicized by his opponents to undermine his presidency and falsely portray him as a puppet of Putin. Title I of FISA was used illegally to obtain a warrant to spy on Trump campaign advisor Carter Page, using a Clinton campaign-funded false dossier as their so-called evidence. Biden campaign advisor Tony Blinken was the impetus for the 51 former senior intelligence officials' letter dismissing Hunter Biden's laptop as disinformation specifically to help Biden win the election. Former DNI James Clapper lied to this committee and
look at their faces. This is what they hate. She's listing the crimes. She's listing how these departments have been weaponized against political opponents. Things that they're always accusing Trump, that the Biden administration, Democrats, Harris, when she was running for president, they always said it was Trump who was going to weaponize the Justice Department. It's Trump who's going to come after his political people, opponents, and it was Trump who was going to do this. We got to be mindful and save America. Yet it was them. And she is laying it out for them, and she's putting facts on the table, and she is spelling out the crimes, and that I applaud her for.
Collection of millions of Americans' phone and internet records, yet was never held accountable. Under John Brennan's leadership, the CIA abused its power to spy on Congress, to dodge oversight, lied about doing it until he was caught, and yet has never been held responsible. Under Biden, the FBI abused its power for political reasons to try to surveil Catholics who attend traditional Latin Mass, labeling them as quote-unquote radical traditionalist Catholics. Personally, just 24 hours after I criticized Kamala Harris and her nomination, I was placed on a secret domestic terror watch list called Quiet Skies. Sadly, there are more examples. The bottom line is this must end.
Thank you. We're not going to watch too much more of that. I want to state my opinion here. I want to state my piece. Again, she's a patriot. This woman's a patriot. Let's get into the Snowden thing, because that was the dominant issue that they tried to hammer her with, tried to nail her down with, was the whole Snowden thing. Trying to get her to say that Snowden is a traitor. Over and over again. They spent considerable time, every one of them, trying to get her to say that Snowden was a traitor. Did she do it? No. She held her ground. She held her ground. This man looked out for his country. He was not a traitor. Now, we can debate how he went about doing what he did. You could debate that all day long. And the way she handled it was to say he broke the law, which technically he did. But for what? The interests of the American people and your constitutional rights, your liberties. Now, if you look at what traitor means, constitutional definition, traitor, treason, or what treason would be, aiding and abetting an enemy in a time of war. In other words, for you to be a traitor, for you to be treasonous against the United States of America, you would have to be literally aiding a foreign interest, an enemy of the United States, specifically, with information or details or any kind. You have to, in some way, aid and abet an enemy of ours for them to hurt us. The intent for them to hurt us. That's what it really comes down to. That's a constitutional definition. What did Snowden do? Snowden risked himself, risked his life, his freedom, basically realized that the NSA was spying on Americans. He basically exposed the United States government for violating its citizens' rights, constitutional rights. And what did he do? He didn't go to a foreign power. He didn't go to an enemy. He went to journalists. He went to Glenn Greenwald to have those archives selectively put out there without hurting anyone. He didn't have intent on bringing someone down or hurting anyone. He had the intent of saying something's going on against our citizens. We need to expose it. He was in his rights to do that, and he's a hero. He's a patriot. As Tulsi Gabbard is a patriot. Tulsi Gabbard laying out for them the crimes that have been committed by this country. Tulsi Gabbard laying out for them her ideas on foreign policy, which, again, you could disagree with. But to suggest that this woman is not loyal to her country, she's not a patriot, or she's a puppet of Putin or a puppet of Assad or anything else, because she simply questions things and says, hey, we might need to check what we're doing with NATO and the many agreements that we've had not to violate certain borders in Eastern Europe and not to threaten Putin in certain ways. Maybe we should just check what we're doing. Maybe we should just be a little more mindful about that. Maybe we should question certain things in Syria. Maybe we need to stop doing regime changes across the world and trying to do things. Maybe we should question these things. Are they in the interest of the United States of America? Are we committing crimes? Are we committing crimes against our own citizens? These are questions she's asking, and they're upset because she's asking the questions, which we haven't had a real examination of these intelligence agencies since the Church Committee hearings in 1975, I believe it was. I think it's when it concluded. It was 1970s. But those hearings, let's take a look at those. Church Committee. The Church Committee, formerly the United States Senate Select Committee to study government operations with respect to intelligence agencies, was a U.S. Senate Select Committee in 1975 that investigated abuses by the CIA, NSA, and FBI and Internal Revenue Service. Chaired by Idaho Senator Frank Church, Democrat, the committee was part of a series of investigations into intelligence abuses in 1975, dubbed Year of Intelligence, including its House counterpart, the Pike Committee, and the Presidential Rockefeller Commission. The committee's efforts led to the establishment of the permanent U.S. Senate Select Committee on Intelligence. The most shocking revelations of the committee included Operation MKUltra, which involved the drugging and torture of unwitting U.S. citizens as part of human experimentation on mind control. COINTELPRO, which involved the surveillance and infiltration of American political and civil rights organizations. Family Jewels, a CIA program to covertly assassinate foreign leaders. It also unearthed Project Shamrock, a program in which the major telecommunications company shared their traffic with the NSA and officially confirmed the existence of this signals intelligence agency to the public for the first time. We haven't had an examination of these so-called intelligence agencies since then. And not for nothing, the technology has changed a lot. The things they can do now as far as surveillance and as far as spying on its citizens is gotten that much easier. It was just 50 some odd years ago that this took place, right? So now, with the United States government guilty of all sorts of crimes against its citizens, or this whole 702 spying on citizens without a warrant being needed, the things that have taken place since 9/11 in the interest of national security and the interest of stopping terrorists and all these things, you've just basically signed all your rights out the door. And the intelligence agencies continue to just run amok and do whatever they want. And we're mad at a woman who's questioning these things, saying maybe we need to examine these intelligence agencies and make sure that they are not violating the constitutional rights of the United States of America. I'm sorry, she's a patriot. Put all the political, partisan debating and all that stuff aside. All your loyalties. Forget about it. Forget about being, you're not a senator, you're not in Congress, you're not a Democrat, Republican in government, right? You're a United States citizen. I would suspect that 100% of the United States citizens would support and understand that she's a patriot. That you would be concerned for your rights as a citizen. Forget about the politics. Again, forget about the partisan stuff. Get outside of your bubble for a second. Just ask yourself the question. Think about this. If it were the Biden administration, if it were Harris who had won, thank God she didn't. If it was her who won and they were questioning the FBI, you'd be perfectly fine with this, right? Everyone would be perfectly fine. Oh, you'd be fine. But it's Tulsi Gabbard and it's Trump. It's a Trump appointee. We have something against Trump. Again, love the man or hate the man. Questioning our intelligence agencies when they clearly have a record of crimes committed against the United States citizens, it has nothing to do with him. Technically speaking, it's nothing to do with him. We need to have people like this confirmed. We need her confirmed. I am, God willing, I am praying that she is confirmed. It seems a little unlikely from what I can tell. I'm not 100% sure. I don't even want to put that energy in the air. But this woman is a patriot. She's a gangster. She held her own. I am disgusted by our government and by the way they've treated her. I'm disgusted by the fact, the implications that they put out there about her because she questions things. It's really disgusting. And it's the same thing with RFK Jr. and his confirmation hearing. What are we mad about? That we have people that are questioning things? That's like, if you think about what they're actually angry about, what they are up in arms over, why they don't want these people confirmed, and they don't want them anywhere near the government and these agencies. Why? Because they're questioning things. It's not as if they're looking at Tulsi Gabbard's record and suggesting you did this, you did that, you were guilty of this, there was some morally ambiguous actions that you took, or a few things that were not right, or RFK Jr., there's a bunch of things you've actually done, or a record of having a history of things you've actually committed, crimes or anything that they're attacking. No, they're attacking both of them for questioning institutions, for questioning the way things are done, for questioning things that are harming the citizens of our country, our beloved country. You can't claim to be a United States citizen who's a patriot, who loves your country, and you have a problem with questioning the government when you know they're committing crimes against you. It simply doesn't make sense. It simply does not make sense. I am very proud of this woman. I really hope, again, I say it again, I hope she gets confirmed. Let me know in the comments below if you agree. Let me know what your thoughts are on Tulsi Gabbard. Let me know if you're watching the hearings. Let me know what you thought about some of the hearings. I want to hear from you. Subscribe. Now's the time to subscribe. Hit the like button on the way out. I truly appreciate that. I'll see you on the next Time to Talk podcast. Peace.